We'll call this meeting of the Kokomo Common Council to order. We will start out with our honored guests we have with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Greg Goodnight will give us a State of the City address.
Good evening. Thank you, Council President Hayes. Welcome, members of the Kokomo Common Council, other elected officials, special guests, my wife Kelly, and my family and friends. And finally, welcome to all of you here and those watching at home. First things first, I want to welcome the IHSAA State Champion Northwestern Lady Tigers. The Tigers capped a tremendous season with a resounding 63-42 win over Greensburg to claim the Class 3A girls basketball state title. The hard work, effort, and determination they displayed en route to a 29-1 record is something we can all learn from. You have made Kokomo and Howard County proud. Congratulations, Coach Layden and the entire team. Lady Tigers, I have some good news and bad news for you. The good news is you will later be recognized by the Kokomo Common Council. The bad news is you have to sit through this speech first. Sorry. As many of you know, Kelly and I love sports and love going to local sporting events. So please indulge me as I welcome yet another local sports team. Tonight we have with us coaches and players from the IU Kokomo baseball team. If you would, gentlemen. The Cougars are playing in their inaugural season at Municipal Stadium and have the honor of being the first baseball team to have ever played a home game in Kokomo in the month of February. Despite a rather cold day, the Cougars made history, winning their first home game in an impressive fashion, 14-0 over IU South Bend. Congratulations. Tonight's speech marks the 11th time I have come before this body to offer a State of the City. It is still a humbling experience for me to serve as your mayor. The success we have seen in the past 10 years is truly a shared experience and a shared effort. An effort forged by many groups and leaders, especially the Kokomo Common Council. Your council members always have Kokomo's best interests at heart and never let politics get in the way. We are fortunate to have such a committed leaders serving on our city council. As I have in previous years, I would like to begin this address by talking a little about our city's success and what we have accomplished. Much of what we have achieved is obvious to the naked eye. Attendees to the games at Municipal Stadium and community events downtown have an up-close view of the $32 million 306 Riverfront apartments, which are opening as we speak. A short distance away, Silver Birch of Kokomo is also completing construction on a $23 million premier assisted living facility on the old Southside Lumber site. At Meridian Park, new housing for Bonavista is near completion. This $1.5 million development will provide critically needed housing for adults with disabilities. I would like to pause for just a moment to recognize Bonavista CEO Jill Dunn and her staff for their efforts. Thank you, Jill, for your hard work, not only on this project, but on the lasting legacy you are leaving and your 40-year commitment to the community. I will hope you enjoy your retirement beginning this July. All of these projects are part of the effort to bring new and diverse housing options to Kokomo. Housing that, according to a recent market analysis, is greatly needed. We are also continuing to work on our urban infilling program to repurpose vacant lots and revitalize neighborhoods while returning these properties to the tax rolls. The number of building permits issued continues to grow. In 2017, 88 single-family permits were issued for new residential construction. And 2 new subdivisions were recently announced. Up to 220 new homes will be built as part of an expansion of Webster Crossing, and 71 new homes will be built in the new Autumnwood subdivision on Center Road. But we need more than just new houses and apartments to get people to stay here, move here, and invest here. We have to continue, in earnest, our mission to make Kokomo the best place to live in Indiana. Think about it. Just a few short years ago, we grappled with unemployment of over 20%. Now, in 2017, Kokomo experienced the lowest unemployment in decades. Our local decisions are not the sole reason that number has dropped, but the things we put in place and the efforts we have made have created the environment where this is at least possible. In 2017, Kokomo's curbside recycling program collected an average of 200 tons per month. That's 200 tons per month that we are not paying to be sent to a landfill. Curbside recycling is good for the environment, and it's good for taxpayers. And unlike almost every other city, it is done without any additional monthly fee. Also, Kokomo can still proudly say it has the largest free-to-the-rider public transit system in the entire state. And financially, it is the most cost-effective. The 2017 FBI UCR data shows that robbery, theft, and burglary are all on the decline, and Kokomo ranks in the top third among Indiana's safest mid-sized cities. Yes, Kokomo is a safe community, but safety must continue to be a work in progress. Nationally, the harrowing threat from opioid abuse continues to plague our country, state, and city. A recent report from Trust for America's Health found that nationally, drug deaths are actually higher than predicted, rising more than 20% from 2015 and 2016. And at home in Howard County, after decreasing in 2016, overdose deaths reached an all-time high last year. Nationally, deaths from synthetic opioids like fentanyl have doubled. Opioids are now the leading cause of death for Americans under 50 years old. The solutions are not easy. I'm not going to stand up here and pretend to have all the answers, and you should be leery of anyone who claims to have them. It will require a collaborative effort from our local, state, and federal government, working alongside employers, nonprofits, and families. The Kokomo Police Department has empowered our drug task force, the only such drug task force in our region. We in city government led the regional effort last year by joining a statewide lawsuit that seeks to hold opioid distributors and manufacturers accountable. These are crucial steps in tackling this issue. Kokomo ended 2017 in strong financial shape. Last year, thanks to our city employees, department heads, and city council, we once again underspent our budget by 10%. And we continue to have the lowest debt per capita of Indiana's largest cities. It took some tough decisions and hard work to get where we are, but, and please listen carefully, that doesn't mean we can now discontinue and disregard frugal, sound financial policy. Taxpayers demand, and more importantly, they deserve all levels of government to manage their money properly. One example of this is the negotiation of union contracts. The city spent time last year renegotiating contracts for both our police officers and our firefighters. In September, we were able to successfully reach a 3-year agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. However, after much effort, much expense, and a whole lot of time, Firefighters Local 396 allowed the contract to expire without ever allowing the membership to vote for the first time in our city's history. Now, please keep in mind, the police and fire budgets together total nearly $23 million each year and account for 53% of the entire general fund budget. Additionally, the pension fund budget for retired police and fire employees totals over $7 million each and every year. This is higher than just about any other mid-sized city. Remember, all elected officials and anyone who has a city job is here to serve the public. The public is not here to serve city employees or elected officials. Our administration and the Kokomo Common Council have an obligation to our firefighters, police employees, our street, traffic, and administrative employees. We have an obligation to our parks employees, wastewater treatment employees, small businesses, large businesses, our elderly, the disabled, and Kokomo's children, and many, many more. This list can go on and on. But most importantly, we have a responsibility to you, the taxpayers, to provide the best services at the lowest cost. The taxpayers are the ones that have money pulled from their paychecks every week to fund government. They are the ones paying property taxes each year. We need to focus on taxpayers' needs and the needs of children who may not have a voice in the process. We will continue to compensate our employees fairly while also making the best financial decisions for taxpayers. Kokomo City employees across the board receive better pay and benefits than employees in nearly every other city, county, and township in the area, as well as similar-sized cities throughout the state. By local leaders working together, we have seen enormous progress over the last few years, even though we experienced some very unusual times, things no city has had to deal with. No other city had historic levels of unemployment, 2 devastating tornadoes, and a 100-year flood, all within just a few years. That being said, there is no doubt, by almost every indicator, we are experiencing good times. However, unless we are willing to push ourselves as a community and set high but achievable expectations and use our assets available in times of plenty, growth will stagnate. Data from a 2016 population report revealed that 2/3 of Indiana's counties are shrinking. Almost all of Indiana's growth is happening in or around larger urban areas, and almost all the decline is in rural areas and in small towns. This trend has been unfolding slowly for the past 20 years, and now the pace is accelerating. This population redistribution matters deeply for Indiana's health and Kokomo's health through the 21st century. There is no sugarcoating it. Kokomo is one of those places that could go either way. We are doing better than what was predicted, but we could easily fall into the large group of places declining. The good news is collectively our community leaders can impact which way Kokomo will go. There are many good examples to follow. All of us should look outside of Howard County, around the Midwest, and beyond to discover other cities' best practices. Mark Twain wrote, quote, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime," unquote. There are a lot of Indiana cities doing great things. More Kokomo residents need to visit them. I was born in Kokomo, and I've chosen to spend my life here. I wouldn't have it any other way. Like so many of you, Kokomo is my personal story. Yet that does not prevent me from looking outwards to other cities and towns to try to find the best ideas that can help our community. We do a lot of things well, but there are others that have found a better way, and we can also learn from other places' mistakes. So I owe it to the citizens of Kokomo, and we all owe it to ourselves to explore other ideas for our own economic health. Economists, urban planners, and scholars have pointed to talent attraction through quality of life as the key to economic development. They have been talking about this for years. Now we are hearing it directly from Amazon. We all know about Amazon's search for a city to locate their HQ to and the 50,000 workers it will employ. A quick look reveals that all 20 finalists have in common. All 20 cities have built vibrant, walkable downtowns and neighborhoods. and are constantly working to improve their quality of life. There's one simple reason for this. In the 21st century, jobs follow talent, and it all comes down to talent attraction. Amazon is only considering cities that have invested in placemaking and walkability. Now, of course, as most of you know, Amazon is looking for a large metro area with more than 1 million people, and Kokomo does not fit that requirement. However, we can position ourselves as an ideal city for the many Amazons, for those small and mid-sized innovative companies that are looking for the same level of high quality of life in order to attract top-level talent. Specifically, local employer Delphi Automotive is currently splitting into two separate companies, Delphi Technologies and Aptiv. Delphi Technologies will keep half of the employees and continue to be a major employer in Kokomo. Aptiv has publicly stated that the company will relocate to Hamilton County or the north side of Marion County. I have met with the Aptiv executives, and they've noticed Kokomo's progress in recent years. But for them, it is not enough, nor is it fast enough. Aptiv is not leaving Kokomo because we are building nice apartments, designing roundabouts, implementing road diets, planting trees, or spending money on flower baskets. In fact, it's just the opposite. Aptiv specifically chose communities that have done all those things and even more. Quality of life is economic development. Quality of life means jobs, and Aptiv proves that point. So what are a few of the things on the agenda for 2018? During my 53 years as a proud Kokomo resident, we have never truly valued Wildcat Creek. We neglected it and failed to recognize its potential. Having a scenic waterway run through the heart of a city is an enviable thing. This year, you will see a concerted effort to continue cleaning up the creek, enhancing the trails around it, and turning Wildcat Creek into an asset for our community. We all know neighborhoods are vital to a thriving and vibrant city. That is why this year we will work to rebuild and restore two of our most historic neighborhoods. In the Jefferson and Phillips Street area, in the Main and Markland area, we will add amenities, remove blight, and invest in new infrastructure. This year, we will continue to grow our trail network by extending the Industrial Heritage Trail on the north end by finishing a bike and pedestrian bridge over 931. On the west side, we are extending the Walk of Excellence along Carter Street, and on the southeast side of the city, we will add new trail lighting, benches, and amenities. Later this year, Kokomo will open its third dog park, positioned along the Industrial Heritage Trail in the center of the city. In the coming months, renovations will begin on the former traffic building next to City Hall. This will become the home of Kokomo's City Line Trolley. The new transit center will have an enhanced public space to improve the quality of our transit service. So now let's address the worst kept secret in Kokomo. Along with the Convention and Visitors Bureau and with other local groups, we are getting close to formally announcing a new downtown hotel and conference center. Now, no one has been chomping at the bit more than I have to make this announcement, but it is imperative that we work with our partners to ensure a complete and successful rollout. So we appreciate your patience as we wait for what is to be a transformative project for our community. I believe Kokomo is doing the right things, the things every Midwest city should do in order to shake that Rust Belt image. I also know that doing the right thing is not a guarantee for success. We must also be willing to embrace change, not fight change. And we must be willing to have honest discussions and evaluations. I bet that everyone here has heard of fake news. It is certainly a big problem. But have you heard of fake outrage? It is an even bigger problem. And it has permeated nearly everything in our society. Fake outrage is a circle that feeds on itself. It could start with a small group of people complaining about an extremely important issue, like the latest Starbucks coffee cup design, and then turns into a different group, getting more outraged over those people's outrage. Fake outrage stems from people viewing themselves as an instant expert on every single subject. And now, through the convenience of social media, they can let the world hear their valuable expertise without even taking off their pajamas or even putting on their shoes. Facebook has given everyone a voice, allowed everyone to be a critic, and turned news into a constant, never-ending, scrollable feed of fake outrage. So now, in order to try to stand out from all the other experts, people feel the need to react to the most seemingly mundane issues in the most exaggerated, snarky, and public way. Some people present themselves as experts on sports, politics. Thank you, Coach, for affirming that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Education, appliances, plastic cups, fashion, vaccines, restaurant services, parenting styles, everything imaginable. Conversations go from 0 to 60, or even 0 to light speed, the instant they hit Facebook or Twitter. Often, with no time or consideration for thoughtful and productive discourse, or even taking a moment to check for accuracy. No longer is it acceptable to find something just mildly disagreeable. Joel Penny, a professor at the School of Communications and Media at Montclair State University, states, "There are studies showing that strong emotional reactions are the biggest motivating force for people to share content online, and that anger is the most motivating emotion, more than any positive emotion. There are plenty of people that exploit this unfortunate side of human behavior on social media. Those who know exactly how fake outrage can be used in their favor. They come in with a personal agenda, usually unrelated to the issue at hand. They really don't care to add to the conversation or help find solutions. They only see an opportunity to discredit or bully a person, a company, a policy, or an idea. Now, I hope on a few issues that we can all just agree to disagree and look at the big picture. It is okay to disagree. For example, it is okay for some people to think the New England Patriots are cheaters, and it is okay for others to support them. Okay, that's a bad example. We all know the Patriots are cheaters, okay? We know that. Seriously, the problem comes when there are a few people in the community with personal grudges and personal political agendas who use false information and fake outrage to drum up fear and misunderstanding. To pretend that every issue is life or death just is not true. This fake outrage blinds us to the truth of what our city can become. Data shows this is actually a unique moment in the history of cities, and I believe we are in the era of the city. These are exciting times for all cities. Large city economies are leading our country, while most small towns and rural areas are suffering greatly. Just since 2014, over 96% of all growth is happening in just the largest 53 American metros. This is strong evidence that we need to continue to tie Kokomo's economy to the Indianapolis metro economy. The US 31 corridor must be a two-way street. On the flip side, state and federal governments are coming up short. US News and World Report just released a study that lists Indiana as having the third worst quality of life in America. Also, according to the 2015 America's Health Rankings, Indiana ranks in the bottom 10 states in overall health. This presents both a challenge and an opportunity for cities. As a state, Indiana has set the bar extremely low. However, I like to view it as an opportunity for cities to lead the charge on improving quality of life and improving our collective health. More so than any time in history, cities can step up and be an instrument of good policy. We have the power to create real, lasting, and positive change in our community. But only if we can come together, have civil discourse, honest dialogue, and only, and I do mean only, if we continue to believe in Kokomo. Thank you all for coming and allowing me to speak about the place we all love. Thank you.